Well, I'm gonna try this. Do this little talk video, and so about how I was born and raised down in South Georgia. I was born in 1956. A little small farming town. I mean, it was little. Had a little county hospital there, wasn't big as nothing. Technically, at that time, I think it was in an old house, really. I was born premature, 3 months premature, right till I died. My mom, what my mother told me later on in life. But it was, back then everything was a struggle. You didn't have all this technology you have for premature babies and stuff and everything. It was just, I know my daddy said he had a brother in the 1930s that was a premature baby. And so he slept in a shoebox. He was so tiny. And but people, it was stuff that people tried. They had to do it on their own. They didn't have all these specialty doctors and specialty hospitals and everything like they got today. But and I had problems. I had problems with my feet, problems with my chest. I had a funnel chest, they called it. But I got I still was a kid. I played and everything. I know. Furthest back I can remember, and I barely remember this, is falling off the porch. I was swinging around the post on the porch, and I fell off and broke my arm when I was like 4 years old, I think, 4 or 5. And I barely can remember that. I can't even remember which arm it was now. And then, well, about 6 years old, at that time, we was sharecropping when I fell off the porch. That's where a farmer, he has sharecrop with a big farmer that's got a lot of land and everything, and he'll do basically most all the work, but he gets a small part of the crops whenever they're sold and everything. Well, the farmer, he got tied up with, didn't come through with all that stuff. He said that's the closest we ever came to going hungry. He said we had to eat grits and eggs 3 meals a day, because the only reason we had that because we had chickens for the eggs, and for the grits, we grew our own corn, and he would take that to the grist mill, get that ground into grits. So I mean, back then everything was a struggle, Then when I was about 6 years old, my daddy rented a farm, and back then the farmer could take and put up some of his hogs and his old tractor. Didn't matter how old the tractor was. The tractor we had was made in the 40s. It was a Farmall, which he had old C Farmall too, which was a little bigger tractor. I presume he put that up for collateral too. Both of them were old tractors. But back then the banks would take pretty much anything for collateral back then for farmers, Get a little money up. I remember my dad said one time he got $3,000 for us to live off of for the whole year. $3,000. That was the farm we had, buy what few little groceries we had to buy, pay the electric bill, whatever, and which the electric bill back then wasn't. Like I said, we had 3 light bulbs in the house, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, and one in my mom and dad's bedroom, and we had an electric stove. And that was all the electricity we had. So it was like $10 a month, I think my daddy said. It was really cheap. Like I say, old light bulb hung down from the big living room. The living room back then was huge. And hung down from the ceiling on a cord. Had a little pull chain on it. Didn't have no shade on it, no pretty lamp or nothing. It was just a bare bulb screwed into just a regular old lamp holder on top, fixture type thing, but there's no lamp shade, no nothing. And that's what you had for a light. Well, we had to do our homework by and everything. I mean, it was not good lighting at all. That's what you had in the kitchen too, and you had that right over the eating table, I think, if I remember correct. House we lived there for 8 years, and when we first moved there, didn't even have running water. All I had was a well out on the back porch, and you had to draw the water up with a bucket. But my dad finally did buy a pump. I think got it at the hardware store. He bought a pump and took and had water, got some old cheap plastic water line. And first place he run into was the hog pen. Was the first place, and the hogs was part of our income. And then he run into the kitchen, and that was it. Because there wasn't no bathroom. All we had in the kitchen was cold water. There wasn't no hot water heater. Running hot water, you had a heat on the stove. In the winter time, we had the wood heater in the living room. You heated it on the wood stove. Want to take a full bath? Summertime, we just put a number 3 wash tub on the back porch, and washed in a number 3 wash tub on the back porch. Wintertime, we dragged up into the breezeway or the hallway there, where you went out the door there to go out to the back porch. We bring the tub up in there and heat some water up on the stove and pour in that tub. Took a bath in the tub. The rest of the time, we just bathed off. Had a dish pan in the kitchen. We just bathed off in that, you know. I didn't think nothing about it. I didn't even know what a freaking shower was. But you know, it's just one of the things you got. You know, usually that's what you used to have, so you didn't think no different. There was no reason to. You hear kids at school whenever I was going to start school, and there you hear kids talking about taking a shower, you know, and everything. I didn't know nothing about that. I was just tickled death to have a toilet at that school that I could use, because there wasn't no toilet at the house except for an outhouse. There wasn't no toilet paper at home either. And newspaper or the Sears and Roebuck catalog is what you use to wipe your ass with, whether you liked it or not. And that's all you had. Somebody said one time, said something about told a farmer, you know, he could take the catalog and order some toilet paper. The farmer said, if I had a catalog, what would I need with the toilet paper? Had a point, yeah, because that's what we use, but the Sears and Roebuck, the old one. Yeah, my mom would always get new one in the house, because she'd have to order a little something from there every now and then, you know, stuff, you know. I think she might have ordered us some clothes one time from Sears and Roebuck. I can't remember for sure. But there's only 2 little department stores in my hometown to buy clothes at, and that was it. There wasn't no Walmart, there wasn't no Woolworths or nothing in my hometown. Had a grocery store, it was a Piggly Wiggly, and it was in an old building. I mean, it was a terrible old building. But you know, that's what you used to have. Growing up on a farm, you had to work every day. There was chores to do every day. There wasn't no holidays for chores. Chores had to be done regardless how cold it was, how bad the weather was, no matter what day it was, Saturdays, Sundays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever holiday it was, chores still had to be done regardless. Had to get the cow ready to milk. We'd go out to the pasture or open up the gate, milk cow, she'd be there every afternoon. Didn't have to go out and hunt her, she'd be there waiting. Open up that gate, man, she'd do a little slow trot right to the cow lot. It was like 150 yards away or so. She'd trot right on up there, get to that gate, she'd stand there and wait on us to get there, because she'd beat us there every time. We'd get her, open up the gate, she'd go right on into the milking stall there, because we always had her some sweet feed. She knew she was going to get that. She'd go right there, my daddy get his milk stool and his 10-quart milk bucket, milk her. You know, take that milk into the house, and mom would strain it through a cloth, get the trash and the foam out of it, and put it in a big dish pan, set it in the refrigerator. That cream rise to the top during the night. She'd get it the next morning, she'd take and skim all that cream off and put it in a big gallon jug. And then after about, I don't know how many milkings it would take to fit, you know, get that jug about half full of cream. And then overnight, whenever she got enough in that jug, my dad would take that jug and we sit there watching that 19-inch black and white Zenith TV watching some little program of a night. You know, there wasn't 3 channels at that time. And my dad said that he'd just sit there and just shake that jug. Sit there and just shake it right there. Sometimes he'd bump it on his knee or something, you know. And after I see that cream start forming together and the butter and everything, my mom would take it in the kitchen and she'd take it out of that jug and squeeze it and everything, get the buttermilk out of it. She'd mash that butter into a ball or put in a big bowl, I think, mash it in there. And put that on a good hot homemade biscuit and sprinkle a little salt and pepper on it. Man, that was the best freaking butter and biscuit you ever had in your life. Boy, I swear that was good. And she would take the buttermilk and she would take and make biscuits with it. When it starts to get too old, we usually would take that and pour it out and give it to the hogs in the hog pen. You know, sometimes we might put some out there for the cat. You know, we didn't know you weren't supposed to really give milk to cats, but you know, or to say you're not supposed to. Out there, the cats were kind of wild. We just had them around there to keep rats down. You know, out of our corn bin and everything, because our corn, you know, it was out there in the cow lot where we got the cow at. We had a corn crib out there where we had to shovel the corn up into the back side of it. And that was just, you know, part of living then. Everything was done by hand. You know, chores were getting in the wood. You know, during the winter time, we had to get in the wood, had to get in kindling. You know, feed the hogs, get the milk cow in, ready to milk. That was every day. Every day in the summertime. And then getting the milk cow and feeding the hogs every day during the summertime. The only thing you didn't have to do in the summertime was to get in any wood. Simple life, you know. Didn't have no big complication things, you know, trouble with your internet and stuff like that. And like I say, you only had 3 channels off an old antenna, and you're lucky to get them to come in half-ass clear. Clear enough where you could watch it, at least it's black and white, you know. Had the cheapest TV you could get. And that's the way it was then. Well, I'm going to cut this off short and make sure this is going to sound all right, because I'm trying something different again with the microphone. So just want to try this, see how it sounds. And then I'll add some more.